A pleasure to speak with you all. Actually, unfortunately, missed you at Sundance when this first came out, so I'm finally happy to talk to you about this now. I think we have to kind of start. I want to start with James,
Yeah.
and this story is so woven well. Like it could be about one of them, it could be about both, but it kind of touches on so many different facets of the characters as well as I guess regret and longing as well. Like, what did you really want to capture as you kind of encapsulated them in this island?
Well, I was very lucky. Also, nice to meet you. I was very lucky in the sense that I had a really good script that we were pretty stayed fairly faithful to throughout the process, and that gave me a very good roadmap of how this story would work. I feel like with these characters and the way Tom and Tim and Carrie came together, the dynamics were so beautifully woven throughout that it was very simple for me actually. When I think about it, the toughest thing was just the directory stuff of time and weather and all the things that challenge you in that way. In terms of filming the story and constructing the story, that felt very organic and joyous actually. I thoroughly enjoyed that part of it. Yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
Tom, when it comes to her, there's so many different um, like avenues he could go down to try to like fulfill his life, where he's trying to find things. And like what did you want to start from with him? Because he wants to be an artist, he wants to be remembered, he wants to remember. I mean, there's so many different layers to him as well before he even gets woven into everything that is Charles too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think what's pretty obvious about Herb when we first meet him is that he's someone who's quite ill at ease, that he's not very good around people, and that there's something very sort of guarded about him. And I think, as the film goes on, and particularly when Nell arrives, Herb begins to open up, and you begin to see a sort of warmer side of him. You begin to see a more kind of fulfilled side of him. And I think he is a frustrated. He's a frustrated artist who's reached a point in his life and his career where he's very nostalgic about his early 20s and about his life back then and the kind of music he was making back then, but also the way he felt about music back then. And I think that, by finally playing these songs for Charles, and some of them maybe he'll never play again, I think it's given him a chance to kind of close the book on a part of his life that he couldn't let go of. And I think, that's something that is that I think is not just important for musicians, but it's important for a lot of people to sort of be able to say goodbye to the things in their youth that they really enjoyed and that made them happy at the time. So, Herb goes on he does go on a real journey as a musician, but I think it's also one that people kind of really relate to, and some have very very kind of intimate experience of.
And then Tim, when it comes to Charles, I feel like this man has like he's gone through so many different things and he's kind of reassessed what matters, because it's not money, it's all these different things that matter to him and these moments too. So what did you want to capture with him as he kind of, he's a smiling guy, but he's also going through so much at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't think I overthought it really. I feel like I just do it scene by scene, really. And I think as long as you're just, listening to the other people in the scene, and we have like complete faith in the lines and stuff, but there are like a couple of things that came in where he just alludes to his past and to his wife a few times, and you sort of have faith that those moments will land. And because the way that Griff has directed it and the way it's all pieced together once we finished filming it, those bits really do pop out, and it means that I can just get on with my job of just like bumbling away and just trying to get as much kind of truth into the character as I can, but also make him a decent laugh. But yeah, it's interesting. Like you just have to have faith that the script that you've put together will see you through. But day to day, you're just trying to inhabit him, put his clothes on, and say those lines, and be like free to like move away from the lines a little bit, but listen to the other people, and then hopefully you'll end up with something that's quite well rounded. Because I think your question sort of implies maybe like slightly more thought going into it. Not that I think it's bad, not that I've underthought it, but
Right.
my way of doing things is just to kind of just stay alive in the scenes and just chalk them off one by one.
Well, I think
Right.
I think what's so good about the script, I guess, is that with and the way those scenes play out is that really there is a kind of the running tap, the broken tap of version of Charles, and then it's actually in the spaces where where you're just watching him that you really get a sense of when he stops and he actually gets a moment to stop. You actually get a chance to observe him, and then you start to see what Tim does so beautifully is actually just let those layers and the guard comes down.
So you do have like a on set, there's a continuity person who's like, you can go and just sort of just check where you are in the story. But my character's quite interesting because he's got a real heavy reset button where at the end of a scene he's kind of bulletproof, and so he'll reset himself. So there's not a scene where he's like, you know, breaking down. You need to remember that the next scene he's on the floor. The next scene he's bounced back up again. So he's an interesting character in that way. I mean, I that's what I really like about playing him is he's very, very, you know, he's all over the place, but he's very robust.
Yeah.
Well, I could talk about this. I actually wanted to, somewhere along the way, talk about, Herb and Charles, that moment, the singing where he's letting go and he's kind of reaching a moment for himself too. The last thing I'll say this, because I have to wrap, is Tim, how much is it to set you up to do stand up? It's for under 100 people. It's next to my pool. Like, how would I schedule you to kind of do some stand up for me? How would that work out?
Yeah, that would work out. Where is it?
It's in the backyard, the pool, but it's under 100 people, so it's not a lot. It's mostly just
I could
me.
I could pull that in for under 20K.
20K, fantastic. It might be 2 people. I might get a clown before. I'm not sure. I'm still figuring it out. So if we figure it out, but it'll be worthwhile. You'll see.
Okay.
A pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.